Right, okay then, it's time for me to build myself a beautiful Royal Pegasus. I've actually been having to think about how I can do this in the best way possible, because there's a kind of a mix of cloth elements, of horse elements, and one thing that I would always say about the old world stuff is it's very difficult sometimes, I've found, to actually paint a horse when it's all together, let alone a Royal Pegasus, because it's very difficult on some occasions to work out where the cloth ends and the horse begins. You can find things on this, so I'm going to put him all together complete. I don't normally do that with most animals, but I think in this case I should be fine for doing the whole thing. Now let's have a quick think here, because one thing I like about this, and I'll just get 1 and 2 out to begin with, is I was having a good look at it, and they've done a good job, Games Workshop. When I think I might have been a little bit how do I put this, harsh on my initial review about parts of it, but I think when I've sat down and looked at it properly, I've noticed that it's very well designed to kind of blend in with the current stock of Bretonnian models. So it both looks like it could have been made in the 90s, but you can 90s, early 20s. But you can also see that they've tried to make sure that they've used some, nice modern techniques in its, in development. So, they've gone into the 3D modeling. They've made sure like the cloth flows right. There's the right amount of fur on it and things, but not gone so over the top as could happen, because if they went over the top, it would look too sort of Age of Sigmar to match with the existing range. So I actually think they've done a good job in blending it. And when you look at pictures of it built in say the Warhammer rulebook or online, you'll see that it matches the aesthetic. So I think definitely this is something I'm very pleased about this model. And I'm going to assume, although I haven't got hold of it yet, that this same Pegasus is used. Oh gosh, this one's really been a pain, isn't it? I'm going to have to get my proper knife out here. Yeah, I'm going to assume the same Pegasus model is used for like other Royal Pegasus riding miniatures. So I think this can either make the Baron, the Duke or the Baron is possible with this. But I'm not going to build the Baron yet. Just make sure that's nice and smooth. I have to admit, I don't normally have this much trouble cleaning up a model, but this one's been a pain because of the curves on this part. Oh, I can't wait to paint up this army. It's the last thing I need to do before I can go and do my triple layer spray paint, which I've just realised I actually swore I was going to put on my YouTube channel and explain how I do that. I basically use almost the same method for a huge number of models, which is a triple layer of grey. I find it just one of the best tones. It just lets you add like that feeling of light and dark before you even begin. Okay. Just trying to make that nice and smooth. Yeah, it's a pain filing on a curve, isn't it? Now, that looks dead simple. Just pop together on those sides. Oh, he stayed in there. That's no good. Just trying to make sure this bond's in the right place. That looks like a potential issue to me right away there. That is quite a gap, that part. Let's try and... I don't want to add too much glue to this. But if I don't, it's going to keep splitting. There we go. Noise. Right, now on to the next part, which is 3 and 4. You know, sometimes when I look at these kits and I see these little bits and I'm like, why was that just not part of the main model? Why did that need to be separate? I'm sure someone who understands mould making and things would perfectly explain why you can't just do that, but you just want to get something built and you've got little bits like this and your head's like going, come on, surely that didn't need to be separate. I was finding it quite interesting as well. I was on the Heavier Metal like Facebook page, and someone asked a question about an old US Golden Demon winner, and I was having a good think about it, and it's like, go on, I'll just search for the guy. You know, if you want to know if someone exists, just search for the guy. It was crazy. Very quickly found the guy's name. Didn't take long before I found an article from a few years back about him. I'm not going to name him because I don't really want to kind of have someone suddenly be pestered, to be quite blunt about it. But yeah, because I think what happened is obviously the guy's LinkedIn must have been suddenly pinging like crazy with people looking him up or any other kind of stuff. So thought to myself, yeah, it was really interesting though. Found out that he was, you know, still around, still busy. Just living. Oh, just trying to get this in the right position. It does feel like it's a bit of a one that could easily get in the wrong place. Yeah, so it was very, very strange. I was thinking, like, someone asked about the guy, and then everyone was like, oh, well, we found him. He's like this, he's like this, he's like this. And I'm like thinking, my goodness. You wonder why he thought suddenly he was getting, like, people looking at his LinkedIn profile and going, he's here. Just weird random people looking on his LinkedIn all of a sudden. think good idea to make sure you've dry fit these to make sure they're going to sit where they're supposed to sit. Just looking at this, definitely has a weird feel for its positioning. Let me just check the instructions to make sure I'm getting it right. Yeah, so they appear on the instructions to look like they're almost at a similar height. There, I've got it like that. Okay, you'll basically see there's like a tiny little notch there and the peg on the other side, and they will, if you kind of slot together quite nicely. Okay, now we want 5 and 7. Because for some reason 6 is going to go on after 7. Just have a quick look here. Number 5. Number 7. What does 7 look like? It's like something that flows. Let me have a look here. Here when I can't, there it is. Yeah, it's this part. Trying to make sure that I keep on line of my camera. I've had to put my camera up quite high, and it's because I have to keep standing up today because my wonderful back's decided it's going again. I need the Mechanicum to give me a better spine. The flesh is weak. Let's check how these go on. So gosh, I've got too many things in front of me at the moment on the desk. I'm knocking things off now. Just this huge Bretonnian force on the table. Right. Then make sure you do your dry fits because it's so easy to have problems with these things. Let's have a look. I mean, it seems quite intuitive about how it goes over, but you know, there's always something, isn't it? So yeah, looks like it just... So this is something that I'd love to leave off, but I suspect you're going to have to paint it. Yeah, they're going to have to paint everything separate fully and then glue it while painted if you want to do that approach, unfortunately, with this one. Now, this part heads off this way. Yeah. now we get number 6 out. Look at nice, this really lovely, isn't it? It looks, as I said, it looks new in a sense that you can tell it's got some good details on it, but it still sits well with the, I think, is it 2003, 2004 models? Okay, now 8 and 13. So it's the lovely tail. 13, obviously one side of the head. Just to take that part out, cut it from this side. It's so strange actually that the models for the Bretonnians, like the kind of what you might call the rank and file ones, if potentially somewhat historically inaccurate, could easily be used in a medieval war games group, couldn't it? Oh, I'd love to play Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay as a character as well. I'd love to get into a group who does that one time. Maybe when I finally move house, whenever so that finally happens. Look at that there, that's popping apart. I don't want that because it's going to make it look ugly. This thing does want to pop apart here, doesn't it? The other problem is here, looking at it, look at that, there's quite a bad gap around this. Far worse than I would want on a miniature. That is going to have to be filled with green stuff later on. Might do a separate video about filling with green stuff. I've never done one before, so potentially worth the hassle. I've managed to correct it a bit, but it does seem a bit off. Now, that could either be an error on my part when I've been filing it down, or it's just a problem with the model. But either way, that needs a bit of green. liquid. Need some liquid green stuff, don't I, really, to cover that kind of thing. Right. Not too much with the tail, but I'll just dry fit it just to make sure. Seems like it can go in any positioning. I think I'm going to have it, yeah, so it's ideally straight down. Just be mindful that if you do that, it's going to be harder to paint. I think, let me just see if it looks all right if we twist it to one side. That'll make painting it a lot easier later on. Yay, horsey. Can't believe I just said horsey. Do you know, I didn't even say what part I got. It was number 9, that one. Right, let's see. This little herald, whatever it is going on the front. It's nice. Again, I'm putting it on just to do it, but I feel like to some extent that might be a better part to paint off so you can really get the colours underneath it. And now we've got a choice of a head, effectively. So we've got a choice between this number 14 and this number 15 over here. Now, because this is my Duke, I think I want the one that looks a bit heavily armoured. It's popped off. That's nice. I think, let me just go grab one of these older ones just to kind of give a comparison. So, as you might guess, it's got to be bigger, but the detailing is very similar. It feels both, you know, great. It's got new techniques to build the model. No, it's not so far away from it that it looks wrong, basically. Right, so now we've got a few choices of this looks like it might be the saddle, potentially. Oh no, we don't have choice. I was reading it wrong. It's not choices, it's just one. I thought it was a bit odd. Yeah, it's just the weird way that it's phrased. There's 16 A, B, C, D. So we need 20 and 21 out. $19 as well for the other side of the saddle. that's a small saddle. Then our 21 needs to pop over this on the back by the look of it. Just look at that carefully. Just finding out which side this goes on. So let's have a look at this. It looks like the part goes here. Doesn't it seem to kind of naturally sit anywhere? That could just be me not quite working out the position right. There we go. Hang on. Think. That's very unusual positioning for this thing. That's why it seems so strange. Right, okay. So if you look carefully inside, let me make sure I've got the camera focused on here. You see how it looks like there's like little slants here. So it feels to me that what you do is you nest it just in those slants. That's its positioning. That's why it felt so strange. Come on, go in. There, like that. That's how it should be by the look of it, although it does feel like it's not fully connected. It's how far you push it down, isn't it, now? To work out how far you push it down and get it in the right position. Now I'm going to assume it's something like that. That's how it feels for now. I'm going to have to be quick now just in case I've got that in slightly the wrong position. So let me get 23 out as well. Small piece. Come on, guys. Could this not be already on the saddle? Is it that much of a difficulty just to make it part of it to begin with? Oh, goodness. Talk about an horrible thing. Right. Yeah. It's a pain. Look at this. Right. So looks like the shield pops upwards like that as it goes on. Okay, now 22 and 24. Let's have a little handle here. Possibly on this now, isn't it? Right, sorry, no, that's 24. Where's 22 then? Gosh, this is going to be fun to clean up. Okay, oh, I need a new back. Yeah, there we go. And it's just one goes on this side, one goes on the other side. Just trying to get those two to line up. This is definitely a difficult little bit. There we go, just making sure they all line up together. Right. Gosh, some parts of these miniatures are so... Oh, gosh, last thing I want to do is that. So difficult to deal with, aren't they? It should slot neatly into here. So watch out, because it's really easy for these little bits to just kind of shift as you're putting it in. See here, this one keeps popping out. It's a pain. Stay where I put you. See, it's supposed to kind of slot in here. But you push it in, it's very easy for it to push back. And kind of create these breaks. Not good, that it's sliding around as I go. Let me just try something different. Make sure that this is in properly. I think this might be easier than trying to hold it together as I push in. See, that made more sense. That worked better. Doing it that way. And if I've got this right, then what it does is it kind of has them arc slightly inwards. Some of these bits just don't want to glue. Gosh, what is with my glue today? Right, now we've got some nice little bits to go. So see, we've got 18, 17 and 16. So I'm going to get 18 out first. I think this is just purely because if I try and do them all at once, I'll lose track of which one's which. Okay. Oh gosh, look at these for pain. Why would you do this? Why would they do it like this? Oh, look at that. Oh, tiny little area to actually stick this onto. If I got that the right way around, let me check. Maybe that's why it's not. No, I've definitely got that the right way. Just trying to get it on the right. There's like a tiny little pin here that it clicks onto. It's hard to actually find it. Really, I think this should have been earlier in the instructions. $17. Now, isn't it? Oh, 16. Get in there. Oh, this pin's a bit of a pain. Who thought to do these as separate things? My goodness, what were they thinking, man? whose idea was this? Come on. It's like you gotta slide this in here somehow. Underneath this. Get it clicked in. Get it to hold still. Yeah. Do you know what? It's just not working, that, because unfortunately, every time I try and put the next one along on, it just knocks the other ones off. It just feels wrong as well, you know, like when I put it in, it just doesn't feel like it's getting it in quite the right place. And this one, come on, please. It's like I'm trying to put these on without knocking the saddle, which itself, quite frankly, is a little bit precious. And these things just seem to lack a lot of strength that they need to stay on. Think that is working out right now. It's trying to get, it's trying to work out what's the best order to put them on to stop it knocking each other out as you glue the next one on. While making sure that it doesn't leave an odd gap. There we go. Gosh, that was too much hard. Too much hard. Look at that. Just making sure that it's actually stuck on properly and not just kind of teetering. Yeah, noticed after I put it on that it slipped towards this side, so I just corrected it. There we go. Ooh, you were horrible. I hate that. That said, though, I think we've got just the wings and what's this little 27, 20, so we've got 27 here. Luckily that's not going on the actual miniature, that's going on this base decoration. I'm giving that a bit of time to dry up before I even tackle the wings. Just trying to work out where this little base decoration goes actually. So I got yeah, it just goes over here near the grail. I don't know if they've actually got any new Grail Knight models in the range, you know, like from, well, I say new, from when they did all of this again. Nice if they did. Let me make sure I'm getting this in the right place on the base as well. Needs to feel just right. Just making sure that it's based properly before I carry on. Yeah, just making sure that it's nice and, you know, looking forward basically. Nice base that. I'm going to have to add a few bits to it at some point. Okay, and now for the beautiful wings. I think I'll be definitely on Warhammer Total War later on today. I have this habit of playing Rapins de Lyonesse. Just purely because I like fighting the undead. It's weird, I also like being undead. So I play the undead quite a lot on that game. Now, I'm pretty certain that when I was doing my initial product review of this, one thing that I was a bit like critical of was the quality of this wing. And I think it's a fair, you know, criticism. Look at the old wings and then look at those. And, you know, these just don't feel as detailed, do they? I don't know, for a newer model, I would expect some very beautiful details now. There could be reasons behind that I'm not aware of how that's come about. And maybe it will kind of come to pass when I'm painting it and I'll realise why they're not as heavily detailed. It could just be a simple thing. I mean, someone might have been attempting to make it look old Hammer, make it look like one of the metal miniatures, and then maybe didn't use the current Pegasus wings as reference. And as a result, just didn't put the detail in. That could be that, I don't know. Oh, helps if I put it the right way. Pretty certain it's this way around. Let me just check. No, I am completely confused today. What is going on with me? That way. Just like a bit strange in its like attachment. Nice. Getting in there. There we go. Whew. Wow, that was a challenging build in places, wasn't it? But one cannot deny it is also a stunningly beautiful miniature, and definitely pride of place in any Bretonnian army. So my next thing to do, I'm not going to do it in this video, I'll start a new video for that, is build my Duke. But there we go, beautiful. So there we go. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. See you in the next video.